It's spinning, it's spinning, it's spinning, it's spinning. You make my head go round and round when you turn around. What's up? Y'all know I was coming through the chat acting a fool. What's up, good people? How y'all doing out there in the social media world? Y'all know who it is. It's Key Lolo. I'm putting in the universe that I want to meet Yo Yo. I'm gonna put it out there. I know Yo
Really?
Yo, yeah, Yo Yo, because she needs to know the bootleg Key Lolo. You know what I'm saying? Because Yo Yo, I understand that she's no longer in the They say she's not in the hip hop world anymore. Like
Hmm.
she's married and she's kind of over this whole
Oh, I'm sure.
you know, she's like, I'm done with you can't play with my yo-yo. I remember signing up for the IBW. Anybody out there remember the IBW? Yeah, the IBW. Anybody knows what that stood for? I'll tell you. The brand new intelligent black woman.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, I know about the IBW. You got to be a real live. I mean, you really have to be a true. I'm just changing my little things here so that the public will know that we're here. Yes, you have to be a real live yo-yo fan to know about the IBW, the brand new intelligent black woman. I'm still dope, but you still can't fade me. I miss yo-yo. I miss yo-yo. That's why I like being intelligent because of yo-yo. So. I hope to one day meet Yo Yo so she can see who is this bootleg Key Lolo out here, then hijack my name. But Yo Yo, in case somebody tells you about me, I'm representing the IBW. So Yo Yo won't be like, no, no. We want Yo Yo to be like, yes, yes, not Yo Yo. So what's happening, Cheryl? How's it going? Is that
Oh,
sunshine
well,
back there? Is that
that
sun?
is that's on the
You know,
shadow.
you know what? San Diego makes me I'm sick of San Diego. I'ma change said SD to sick Diego. Diego always got it going on. They make me sick. Y'all didn't have 6 feet of snow. Y'all didn't have 6 inches of snow. Y'all just got sunshine, sunshine, sunshine. Well, that's California for you. You know what they say about
It is. It
you
is.
know,
It
you
is.
ain't gotta say it all like that. It is.
Yeah,
It is.
it is.
So what's going on in California? Y'all got any more name calling of black folks? How's those politicians?
Well,
Are those what's going
the
on with those guys?
ironically, we have the first black first female mayor of Los Angeles, second
Okay.
largest city in America, and she is former Congresswoman Karen Bass. Yeah, she pulled
Do
out
tell
and
she put
won.
Okay, all right, we got a sister now. It's official. We got a sister. How to survive in South Central. A place where busting is
You
fundamental.
got it. Oh yeah,
She
she's ready for
assisted.
the task.
She's
Oh yeah,
ready. Oh,
no, she's
they're gonna give her a hard time. Does she know that?
she's a career politician.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay. So this is Karen Bass, correct?
that's
All
right.
right, let's give it up for Karen Bass in the chat. That's how it's going down. We got Karen Bass. She just won. It's official. She is the mayor of Is it Los Angeles?
Los Angeles,
Oh, she got the
second
big.
largest city in America.
Oh boy, let's see. Let's see how this sister they go. Cause what's her name? Keisha Lance Bottles, boy. They gave her a hard time, and during the pandemic, they ran her
So
up
we're
out of
used to
there.
it. Well, we used to it.
I like San Diego and California. Y'all gangster, like, come on,
You know,
bring it. We ain't scared of
it's
y'all.
yeah, it's just like going. It's just like going home.
Okay, y'all got y'all Bernie Macs. We ain't scared. Y'all ain't scared of us.
No.
Okay. All right. So that's what's happening in San Diego and California, that is,
Mhm.
Los Angeles. Anywho, so big ups to Miss Bass, okay? So we're into the chat a little bit. We're still waiting for some people to come through. So let's get this conversation started cuz tonight this is going to be a great conversation because it's all about professionalism. in the beauty and barber industry because I don't know. I know you're not on social media as much as I am, but I was scrolling through social media and they always show the women like clapping their booties and twerking and people are like, we are so sick of that. When are we gonna have some intelligent stuff? So I was in the chat like, well, y'all could come on over to Cheryl and Ladosha, and
Right.
we won't insult your booty or your boobs or your brain. How that, okay? So that should
Not
be
at
our
all.
tagline. The dumbest ish that people say about black hair without insulting your booty, your boobs, or your brain, okay? And that's for both males and females, okay? So there will be none of that on this channel, okay? I won't be clapping no butt cheeks, and Cheryl won't be shaking no boobs, and we won't be talking to you real stupid, okay? How's that, all right? But what we will be talking about is some current events. So let's get started with Michelle Obama. This one's gonna be interesting. Okay, so I don't know if you know, but Michelle Obama has her second book. It's coming out. I think it's already out, and so she's all about girl power. She's all about female empowerment, and just through ups and downs, highs and lows, Michelle Obama is saying love yourself genuinely and authentically. But she got a lot of controversy when she said that the United States was not ready for her natural hair. So I've got the clip. So let me see if I can do what people do when they have a podcast, and let's see if I have learned something here. So, and sure, I just want to get your feedback on this one. Okay, there it is. It's about under a minute. So let's see what Michelle Obama really said. We don't want to misquote her. Now, this is not my video, so this video I got it off of YouTube, and it's coming from CNN. Okay, so here we go. Let's see if I. Oops. All
Former
right,
First
here we
Lady
go.
Michelle Obama.
Oh, let's try it again.
Former First Lady Michelle Obama revealing that she considered wearing her natural hair and braids during her time at the White House, but decided that Americans weren't ready for her natural black hair. Listen to the former First Lady.
As black women, we deal with it. The whole thing about, do you show up with your natural hair? Braids, y'all. But as First Lady, I did not wear braids. Being the first black. I just, we gotta ease up on the people. Just like, because I thought about it. I was like, it would be easier. Nope, they're not ready.
And the former First Lady says that she kept her hair straight so her husband's administration could focus on other issues and not her hair.
All right now. Okay, how'd you like that for a nice little clipping? So she said, "You got it." She had to ease in on them. Come on. Now we got the trollers, so people are not always ready to come in the chat. So they're probably watching, and they want to hear. Now, if you want me to go first, I'll tell you what I had to say about it.
You
But
go first.
you want me to go first? Okay. Always Key Lolo. I don't mind going first. All right. So no, but seriously, here is my take on what she had to say, and honestly, I really think we are giving white people and their thoughts about us way too much power, given the laws. I know back then, I mean, like if you were in the 50s and the 40s and the 60s and even in the 70s, where there were laws that we just couldn't, and that, white people really had a thumb on top of our image. But I don't know. I would say, I don't know, maybe I'm just hallucinating, but in all honesty, from I would say 95 onward, I think there was definitely a paradigm shift, and black people just really we don't need laws, we don't need any, we're just going to be our authentic selves and people were like, I quit and you can have this job. I don't care anymore. I don't want to represent your news company, or I don't want to work for your law firm. I'll do it myself. So women were like really, and men were abandoning ship from all types of jobs to not be in control, and up until modern day times. So I think as the first lady, if anything, she could have really worn that, and the staff would have just had to. I don't know. I don't think the staff really cared, but I never worked in the White House. I never worked in that capacity. So that's my take. I don't think that white people care about our hair today as much as we think they do. I don't think they cared back then when she was in office, but people kind of beg to differ. I don't think white people care what, like, I don't even know nothing about y'all hair. I don't know. So that's my take on it in modern day times. I know back in the day they really was, but I mean during Michelle's era, I think she could have worn her braids, and she could have set the tone that this is how. And it's no big secret, anywho. I don't know. So, your turn.
Well, when she says they weren't ready, so he won, they would have that took away the votes. If she had braids, they would have reversed the election, um, or they would have not focused on Barack Obama's policy because they were too busy focused on the braids. They wouldn't have paid attention to, Hurricane Sandy. They wouldn't have accepted his money. I mean, I don't understand. Um, and I know that is good for sound bites, but I don't know how functional it actually would have happened, because we are afraid to lead, because we all knew at the end of the day that she has worn braids. So white people already know that braids is a possibility. But one of the things that I find peculiar is that, so if we have a Crown Act, right, are we going to exercise it with our personal freedoms? Are we going to lead and push the envelopes with our personal choices? Because if we don't ever exercise it and push the limits of it and try it out, especially when you're first lady, you have a pretty much a lot of leverage there.
Mm.
And I do remember she had a garden, and she planted some watermelon. So what if she's gonna say, "Oh, I don't want to plant a watermelon. Oh, I don't think they're ready for watermelon. Let me plant some cucumbers or some pineapple instead." I mean, just sometimes the concepts that we get into, and one of the things that we as professionals and cosmetologists have to say, Michelle, braids and straight hair are synonymous. It's a style. It's not the natural status. It has nothing to do with genetics, you
Hmm.
know, because
Okay.
your hair is the natural portion of the essence of your human body. But what the way you choose to wear it, if we keep politicizing it, it will always be politicized. And that is what we expect the first lady to do. So she kind of missed it, trying
Mm.
to cater to something I think that she was more uncomfortable with,
Yeah.
not the fact
Yeah.
that,
Yeah.
I
I.
mean, because I
I.
don't think we were ready for a black family, a black mother in law, a black family. Well, we could have just kicked them over the top with, you know, some
Right.
individuals
Right.
or some,
Right.
I mean, it's just, to me, it's preposterous, but,
It's preposterous. Yeah, I think that I do. I think we give them too much, and we can fill in the blanks. Because I wish some white people would just come through. Come on, white people. We need to diversify
yeah.
this platform here, and maybe we gotta do some marketing to get some more white people to come through. But if you watch this post, the live, and if you are I don't like. I can't stand race. But anywho, if you are white, and if you are a person of influence or just a yeah, just an everyday white person, I don't think you have to be that. Do you really care what black people how we wear our hair? I just, because I don't. I
And we
don't.
should be used to the criticism at this point.
I mean,
Who
I
gives a
know.
shit?
Yeah, I mean,
You're
it's
in the
like,
White House. You won.
yeah,
Make the best
yeah.
of it.
I would have. I know in my role, I'm not always a leader in every capacity, as a cosmetologist, but whenever I do have that platform as a leader, I'm gonna be the one. I'm gonna break the mold. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to do status quo. So of course, everybody's gonna say this is easier said than done. But Miss Howard, since you bold, you the only one in the chat. So what you say? Do you think she should have worn her hair? Did she have the heart to do it? Because after all, this is what this topic is all about. It's about professionalism. And so, with that being said, let's just go into the segue of braids not being professional. So, is that what the bigger problem that she felt? I don't know who deemed braids unprofessional. I don't know. I don't
No
know.
one did. No one did. We wore them before. It's called the 60s and 70s.
Did we wear braid? Did people wear
We wore
cornrow?
them before. We wore them before. That is what the danger of intellectual gaps. We don't have just wealth gaps. We don't have just trust gaps. We have intellectual generational gaps
Wow.
where one generation doesn't talk to the other generation. So therefore, gaps. The question is what is in the gap? If nothing is in the gap, then you have nothing to. Then the next generation starts over. Then the next generation starts over, and then they start over again, and then they keep having the same political, social, economic, and the same challenges.
Hmm.
And so they're never having the fruit and the advantage and the inheritance and the legacies to carry on, and and the benefits to carry on for
Hmm.
of your prior generation. So the information gap is just horrible
Right. Well,
because you
I
don't
but
know what one last generation has done. So you don't know how to behave and how to benefit from those.
well, I will say now, y'all know Kilolo. You know I'm gonna be the ish starter. So let me just, let me get my little ish going on. Let me move my mic up to my mouth. Let me get some ish going. So here's the ish. So yeah, Cheryl, we hear you about the 1960s. Maybe my Buzz Lightyear eyebrow on, okay? In the 1960s, when we wore these cornrow braids, but these new African Americans and their colored braids and extensions and the fuzziness and the
Locks,
knots and
locks.
all of that when it's unkempt. Because in the beginning, the African Americans look very coiffed. But then as the days go on, Cheryl, we begin to look rather ethnic. So, what about that? Because I think that's that professionalism that people might be concerned about in modern day times when they say braids are
Mm-hmm.
not professional is when they become, you know, blackish. Let's just put it on out there, because our hair ain't gonna stay like this, right? You know what I'm saying? So, you know,
But
go
that's
ahead.
not but that's not discrimination. That's Afrophobia. That's a phobia because what you're saying is that a white girl with the same hairstyle will be inviting and won't have a trigger. The trigger is when an Afrocentric person, an African descent presence is in the workplace, and then they decide to express themselves and align themselves with something that is cultural, that is akin to that culture. Well, that freedom of expression you don't have access to because it triggers a larger body of people who either can't obtain it, can't do it naturally. It says certain things that white um, workplaces, uh, they don't have to see you. They don't have to deal with um, the ethos of that particular people and the
Mm-hmm.
pathos of the, so emotionally don't trigger a white person. That becomes more important than to trigger and to just allow the people of color to suffer, their well-being to suffer, their identity to suffer, and then too allow them to not have access to freedom of expression, which is the First Amendment.
So,
So
let me cut you off. So you're saying the professional. So to those of you who are just joining us, welcome. I see you, Black Beauty Culture of Nova Scotia. That's dope, aka Ladosha. No, I'm just kidding. So we are talking about professionalism. You know what is that in the beauty world? And we are talking about braids. Are they professional? And so Cheryl is just giving us a little some excellent dialogue and understanding about Afrophobia. So, are you saying that the phobia of what happens to our hair as we live in it, does that become rather peculiar?
well, when people say ethnic, that's the same thing of a white guy approaching a black person in a car. Their heart beats faster. There's an incident where a former uh, white male, approximately in late 60s, early 70s, looked at a 8-year old girl who was a wanting to be a scientist, and she created this natural spray to deal with some of the nuisance insects in their neighborhood. And he perceived her and described her as a little woman to the dispatch 911. And so that's Afrophobia. That is a black presence in the midst of a whiteness, and it triggers their fear. Now, is the fear logical? No, but that's not hair discrimination. When you're talking about braids being unprofessional, you wore them. They wore them in Hollywood. They wore them, in all these places. So
Okay.
yeah.
All right. So, okay. So braids has the whole. They're not professional in modern day times. And even in the past, it's all made up. And somehow we just kind of bought into it and we gave into it. But I think as a licensed cosmetologist, the professionalism is looked at on the outside, like we're looking at on the outside. But on the inside, we're going to switch this conversation and turn it inward to us, Cheryl. So, what about
Yes.
us as licensed professionals? Because
Hmm.
when you look on social media, when even you turn on the news or if you watch a commercial, and they show, or even in movies, we're going to talk about
Hmm.
BAPS. What about Grease? Beauty school dropout. And I talk about this in my book too,
Yeah.
that cosmetologists, hairstylists, we are always, for the most part, on TV, the commercial, they'll show the hairstylist on the phone and burning the hair out, or they'll show the infamous, girls fighting, slapping, snatching hair weaves, stealing hair weaves, go breaking into the stores, fighting, with the store owners of the hair that they got caught stolen. So let's talk about the professionalism in the beauty industry, because people who are going to watch this either during the live, and again, welcome everybody to our 30th episode of the dumbest ish that people say about black hair. And we are talking about professionalism within the beauty and barber industry. So, looking inward, what, in your opinion, what constitutes professionalism? Because you got key lolo. You got your key lolos. That come in with the hair not combed, but they can slay a hairstyle, a cut, whatever. And then you got your barbers. Smelling like weed and you know beer, and they're just kind of the hair is kind of whatever. What is a professional? What should the public look for? And when they see a professional hairstylist, cosmetologist, barber.
Mm. Good question. Good question. And this is, of course, uh, my experience of owning a salon and working in New York, um, Brooklyn, all the way to Manhattan, and in one of those high end, salons. But I will say, in terms of being trained, the first word is responsibility, and a professional. Um, and let me just break it down to the point where a professional, in terms of a true cosmetologist, not a provider like a natural hair provider or a clinician, person who assists, will assist a cosmetologist in the salon.
Okay.
But I'm talking about a true professional that knows three things. It knows the rhetorical framework, the pathos, logos, and ethos of their practice.
Okay.
Pathos, is being concrete,
Mhm.
and ethos, understanding the cultural aspects and things of that nature, and logos being logical in how you approach, and in terms of everyday approach. And then understanding that the code of ethics, code of conduct, and then just the environmental of the social contract. And let me just break those down, if I may. Um, the ethics is the how, that the code of conduct is how you should act, you know, and the social contract is keeping each other accountable to, standards, rules, behavior, and also, and I'm talking about from just how I've been, trained. And a cosmetologist is takes the full responsibility of the client, the customer, how their experiences are within the salon or in the beauty supply, or however they may find themselves. Cosmetologist also is, in terms of professionalism, is always the checks and balances of the client's experience. Clinicians or natural hair providers, or people who hold certifications or certs,
Okay. Okay.
those are people that may have limited exposure. And even though they may do the same things cosmetologists do, however, the professional divide is the level of authority, the expertise, the level of education, and they call them in the medical world attending physicians. It's almost like you'll have your residents, but if you want the attending physician, you want someone who's been there for at least 10 to 15 years, that has just a palette of,
Right.
or an
All right.
array, a roster of experience.
Now, again, it's Key Lolo. Y'all know what I'm about to say, don't y'all? Y'all, come on, y'all kind of being hoity-toities tonight. I'm gonna kick out the hoity-toity because I'm gonna just come on through. I'm gonna come through Key Lolo style. Sure, that sounds rather boring, okay? Because nobody talks like that in hair salons. You know what I'm saying? Like, ain't nobody in there talking about some ethos and pathos and so what about the
Until
homegirl?
they complain. The moment a client or a customer complains, where, where's the
Well,
boss?
I mean, it's like,
Where's the person responsible?
but do,
Who's
but
the
do,
manager?
but do cosmetologists? I don't see any cosmetologists in the chat. So post the live if you are a barber or if you are a cosmetologist or if you come through as I'm making this statement. Do you use those terminologies? Do you use? You have
You don't have to use it in the
trichoptila.
everyday. You
Right,
don't
I
have to
got you.
use it in the everyday practicing. But when you see the movie Barbershop,
Okay.
the alpha in the barbershop is played by the character Ice Cube.
Yeah.
and he learned his behavior and how to set up and run all the things that I talked about from his father. That
Hmm.
was his father's barbershop. Now, is his style different? Yes, but it is the underlining foundation of those principles and rules and standards and codes of conduct. It are those that which created him as a professional barber. Now, he may not regurgitate it like that, but that must be the foundation. Um,
And we hope you. We had a couple of cosmetologists come through. I see Black Beauty in Nova Scotia still in the Heezy. We got Ebony Naylor. I see you, Eb. She came on through with the Excellence Essentials Beauty Salon LLC on you. Okay, so one of the things that you definitely want to look for, whether you have Key Lolo or whether you have the unapologetically brilliant Cheryl Morrow on your head or Ice Cube, persona, there are some things that you should definitely look for when we're talking about that professional, cosmetologist and barber. And it would definitely be those three things. Okay. So we got that. Now let's go on to cosmetologists and barbers who use over the counter products
mhm.
and want to charge big bucks. And then you have those who are using salon quality products. Would you say that constitutes professionalism if they're going to use something, they got a whole, station full of, motions and, what's that stuff? Pump it up and then you look over here and you have Aveda and you have, California Curl. So what do you think about hair care products over the counter versus professional? Does that necessitate, does that define professionalism? Because people want to know. Because we
Yeah,
get asked that all the time.
really.
Yes, people do now. Now this is the Reverence Design Team Petri dish, which is very small,
Mhm.
but people do say to us they do not like going to hair salons where they see over the counter products. Now we know that some things are not professional. Let's take like like the braiding wax. So there are some exceptions, but the word that I've heard three times, it's called the community bucket. So people do not like the community bucket slash over the counter in their hair. So what do hair care products or tools, what people use on the hair, does that make them professional or not?
I think it's a psychological thing because, of course, what they don't see on the shelf, and I think in their Target or Walmart store, I do think that they have unbeknownst to them, they probably have a bias to it because they can buy it, and why are they coming to you? But well, here's the thing. I will say that before that, what has nothing to do with the consumer. I think that the industry has a different relationship with professionalism if they are having an exclusive relationship with professionals or with whoever those manufacturers are. And I know we can go deeper into that conversation, go left with it, but I do think that the exclusivity, uh, Mr. Morrow for his whole entire career always put professional use only, and that it was, and he also practiced professional use only economics.
Can you
And
define that? Because a lot of people think that that should mean that really means that you don't want me to buy it. So can you just kind of expound upon when we see professional use only? Just kind of go into that a little bit because we just hairstylists and barbers.
professional use only in terms of a manufacturer designing something that is going to give the professional an exclusive advantage in the marketplace, which means that it should not be once the procurement is received by the hairstylist, that that product cannot be sold. It can only be used. Okay. And so that particular, let's just say, why manufacturers, and we didn't do this as a company, but Mr. Morrow would not make things in buckets or over 16 ounces because certain things that he didn't believe that if hairstylists couldn't sell it, then they shouldn't have it in their salon. But there is also the chemical treatments. Should those particular products should be dedicated to the service dollar, and those things are not transferable to the consumer. Okay, they will not see certain systems of Mr. Morrow's on the shelf that has consumer access. Maintenance products, yeah, but when it comes to things that you need to get in terms of treatments, in terms of high treatments and methods and things that you needed professional over your head to be administered or applied, those things were exclusive to hairstylists only. That is giving them discounts for having a license. And it feeds into, just like dry cleaning feeds into fashion, right? They make things that feed into to keep the industry healthy, to keep it viable, and things of that nature.
Yeah, because I had a guest who want people so every now and then. It doesn't happen often. You'll get somebody who wants us to use our license to get them something, and I'm like, why you treat me like Woodrow outside the liquor store? You know, when you was a teenager, you pull up on Woodrow. Let me get you $5 to go in there and get me that brass monkey. I'm not Woodrow, guys. I won't do it. And I lost a customer because I refused to give her something that we use professionally for her to use at home, because we do sign contracts with companies and they really trust us to not do that. So the professional only, guys, it does have merit. It does have
Yeah,
meaning,
absolutely.
and so this is not a joke. And there are, I know people kind of, may bend the envelope a little bit, but we don't open it up, okay? So we got that part, the role that hair care products play. Now here comes the big one. I got my drum roll.
Boy.
All right, here we go. So, Cheryl, we've got the ethos, we've got the language, we've got the over the counter, we've got all your fancy, brilliant stuff. What I want to know is, why the hell y'all charge so much damn money? The hair salons and barber shops, for crying out loud, $40 for a haircut? What's wrong with these barbers? They want $60 and $70, and they want to line up. They want to charge for a lineup. You're not doing anything but taking a little bit of this off. So why are haircuts and hairstyles? Why are these things so expensive? Now we know
Well,
that means different things to different people, but in general.
mhm. Well, one of the things that, as trends, um, the ebb and flow of them, but you notice the trend of, let's just take the barber industry. It is three cuts in one. Um, you're talking about fades, which are highly time consuming. So if you are talking about someone, if you're just talking about $75 an hour, then that's about 50% discount, $40. So if you're talking about just fading it and then give him a line, lining up his forehead, it's almost three cuts, almost. And just because something, they didn't do in 1970s or the 1940s, doesn't mean that today's client is much more demanding. You also need to be involved with more sanitation, and those particular products have gone up. Gas and light has gone up. Everything, its prices have increased, and so you must maintain the integrity of the art form, in the integrity of the service, and so if he were just to even charge hourly, and if there would be the golden, just the average rate, he is talking about $50 to $75 an hour, because that would be fitting of a barber, a beautician, or clinician, or provider, or cosmetologist. I have tried, I have gone into, to some haircuts that I do charge by, or hair gigs that I do charge by the hour. And it's just better to give a flat rate like $40. Yeah. And so you can't compare a $10 to $12 haircut to someone who has perfected their craft, they're taking their time, and and your loyalty to him, and the the expenses and the products and the dyes. And some people, you got to spray them, and they want the dark lines, and you want the beard. So now they're doing combinations of, there's a lot of things involved. I think in the last maybe 10 years that the barber customer is doing multi things in just one haircut. Shadowing and doing designs. It's a lot of
Right, right. Okay, I
intensity.
see. We see you guys in the chat. Come on, guys. Don't be afraid to drop some questions. I know you want to know some things about the beauty and barber industry. So, the barbering, now you can, like some things I don't do any form of barbering at all. So I have no comment, but I will admit that this is the first time I've ever heard somebody say that when you go to a barber shop, that you're really looking at three cuts in one, and then you do have to take into account the newer things that takes place, like she says, the fading in, the artistic side that comes with a barber cut, that a lot of people think, I just let my cousin Woodrow, go ahead on and tighten me up in the garage. You get what you pay for. So we definitely have that. So if you have any questions about the cost, about the professionalism, come on, guys, drop them in the chat. We are here to answer that. Now, here comes another one now. Okay, here we go, Cheryl, because you live in San Diego. So this is one that comes. Now, we get this a lot, and this is the location. So, and I talk about this in my book. So, do you think where a salon and a barbershop is located? Now, we get the obvious Rodeo Drive, of course. Yeah, no, it's. So, what about the locations? Because some people will say things like people down the way are trying to charge prices like they are in a suburb. So, talk about the location. So, where a person works, does that make them professional, not professional? The cost, so where you're located, should people be expecting lower prices if you are in one location compared to another? And so, I know this is your opinion, but we just need to know, because people want to know, is that professional?
I will say that most likely, if you are, there has to be some benefit to the customer when you are, your prices are little on the mid to high end. Like parking, um, and air quality and sound quality, environment and ambiance, and other features, you know, um, and things of that nature. But we all have to take into consideration with that particular barber, the expenses. This is not um, this is not 1960, 1970. This is not, um, the era of the haircuts are quite intrinsic. And let me just say this too, they have to buy a lot more products to just fulfill one haircut. And I think the male customer is different now. I think that they demand um, full attention. They don't want to be pulled in and just, you know, you know, just everything just even. And then some of them may have, areas where they're thinner, and everyone wants to have thick hair. So you got to really be attentive. And I think that they're just not really taking into consideration the time. But the suburban you're going to pay for luxuries. And the difference is too, and the ones that we got to make sure that we don't mix up the barber who is servicing a full roster clientele versus someone who's building a clientele. So building guy, if you want to, go to and get the 15 and the 12 and $10 haircut, they're trying to build a clientele, I'm sure.
Right.
But the
Okay.
ones who are 40 and 50, and they got it already.
All
And they're
right.
servicing, and so they're getting serviced in a totally different way.
Yeah, now that led me to my next one. See how I set her up, y'all. Y'all know she fell for that one, hook, line, and sinker. All right. So here's the next one. I set you up for it now. So what about your celebrity? You have your celebrity stylist, because we're gonna have to make this one separate, and then we'll go into your entry level or building and your more experience. So before we do that, yeah, she did. She fell for it, Miss Howard. That's how I get sure like this. But see, sure, she be ready. She be jamming on the one, jamming on the one. Okay. So let's talk about. We got some good time right here. So let's talk about these. I'm gonna sit back on. Let me lay back here, get my pimp. Check this out, y'all. I got my little pimp laid back on this one. So what about these celebrity stylists, Miss Cheryl? Um, how do you get in with a celebrity stylist, and what makes a celebrity stylist? Talk about the celebrity stylist, because like Greg Gilmore is the only celebrity stylist that I know personally, and he does not consider himself a celebrity stylist, but I'll call him one. Um, people tell him that he is. So, but there is a such thing as a celebrity stylist, like Puff Daddy's barber. Like, oh, everybody loves Puff Daddy's barber. Like, how do I get in with these celebrity people, and what constitutes a celebrity stylist, and how do you? Because you was in there, Cheryl. I can't believe I'm sitting next to you. Let me just rub you up a little bit. So talk about the celebrity part. We want to know. Give us the scoop on celebrity stylists. How do you get in? What makes one a celebrity stylist?
I was at a celebrity salon, which was back in about 20, 30 years ago, which was Naomi Sims, named after, um, there was an African owner, and Naomi Sims, the famous fashion model, right there on the second floor, across from Carnegie Hall. I couldn't wait to get there. However, I did not enjoy it. I did not enjoy it at all. Um, but you kind of used to, Whitney Houston walking in, or at those times it was Boomerang and all the actresses and actors of Boomerang and Arsenio Hall, and Eddie Murphy, and I did not enjoy it. I liked the average. I liked the high profile, though, the political, or and I liked those types, but I didn't enjoy the entertainers. Uh, and I'm gonna tell you why. Um, I'm gonna tell you why. But basically, because uh, what you had to do for them were literally miracles, and I didn't do miracles. And you would think that, and they're late, not very nice, and it was just way too much for me. And so, but I will say this: they do enjoy the attention. You have to have a lot of time. They do not want you being disrupted, and you have to give them undivided attention. And most times they don't come to you; you go to them. And so that my lifestyle in was just not um, conducive for that. And I have to say, wasn't a fit for me, because my father was. I was used to it, and so I didn't gravitate to it. But I will say, how you get into. I believe that those Um, um, well, I was grandfathered in, being in the same salon with the incomparable James Harris, and the incomparable Rudy Townsend of New York. So that's Olive
But
Benson.
now
So I
remember.
mean,
Wait a minute,
that's
hold
not
on,
fair.
hold on. Let me come back, because remember now. What's up, Lady J? I see you in the chat. I see you, Andrea. But now remember, people don't know this. So what? Tell us, like, when you talk about what was his name, Harris, right?
James
What?
Harris
James
and
Harris.
James Harris and Olive Benson were best friends.
Okay, okay, all right. Now the other lady you mentioned, you said James Harris. Was it Lady J?
No, it was Rudy Townsend.
Rudy Townsend
That
and
right. I literally
J.
asked him. I said, "I'm moving to New York. I want to work for you. I will take your bags. I will do anything for you. I will blah 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 blah." So when I went to New York, worked in Bed Stuy, did all the up and coming rappers with Biggie and all of them. Did all of them. That was the Worked in the main salon in Bed Stuyvesant. Then I transferred while the salon was getting built, and I went to work for Ruby
All
Townsend,
right,
and
but
they took
all
me
right.
everywhere. So that's
How
how
do
I
we
got in.
how but how does everyday people get in with the celebrity
I don't
stylist?
think,
Because
and let
people.
me just say this: please, everyday people don't strive for that, and
Okay.
because there's a lot of local politicians, there's a lot of high profile people, socialites, and so many other types of beautiful, uh, um, upwardly mobile, um, real estate brokers, very high, and you necessarily have to be on TV. They don't have to be on
Okay.
TV to
Okay.
be have a really good high end clientele. They can be local professors at your colleges. They can be high profile. That's what the ones I enjoyed. I enjoyed the doing Condoleezza Rice one time. Doing that, that was my league. But the TV, the sitcoms, the concerts coming down. No,
Yeah. Okay. So
I couldn't
guys,
do
there you have it. There are levels to this when you're talking
it.
about
Yeah.
you want to get into that celebrity. And Cheryl said, "Hey guys, if you're watching this and you're an everyday person, you guys are probably like, she right, LaDosha, move past this topic because I have no desire to go to a celebrity stylist. It wasn't for me either because for number one, I was I was just too get to, I was like, what the hell? I ain't gonna be sitting up here. That was one. And then number two, it just take too long. I don't want to be with a person that long.
Mm-mm.
So
Yeah, it's
speaking of
long.
yeah, so speaking of time, okay. Why it takes so long in a hair salon? Why are we supposed to be professional, right? Come on, Lady J. You're feeling me. I see you, Ebony. I see you guys in the chat, okay? Why do hair salons and barber shops they take so freaking long and they're supposed to be so professional? The time is something that still is something that the cosmetologist and the beauty and barber industry, we've got to work on this whole time thing. So
Yeah.
talk about that
Yeah.
in the professional. We,
I it's training.
okay.
And two. And let me just say this, but also three things: training. I don't think that they are trained and role played before they leave the beauty college. They don't have a portion of a professional board kind of role play to watch them to get them prepared for the salon. So they don't know how to do a couple of things at one time, and they don't know how to time management. That's number one. Number two, I think the cosmetology has turned into a little bit of blue collar, and so it's price sensitive, and everyone's trying to get the most maximum and trying to do two or three, four people at a time. But we don't realize that if you don't have good time management and good physical skills, that kind of slows you down. It doesn't make you faster. Okay.
Okay, all right.
And
Miss
then
Howard said, I'm sorry, Miss Howard said the reason why we taking our time so we can charge y'all some more money. You know,
uh
so that's why we're
well, let me
slow.
just say this. If somebody's charging you by the hour, then you guys have to realize that taking longer is actually goes against the cosmetologist.
Yeah,
Not um that's not that's not economic. That is
yeah.
just kind of poor time management. And then the last one, um, we have bought into, manufacturers have sold us into this, that longer processing times and long conditioning times, and people can sit with shampoo and people can sit and sit and sit. That's better. And um, in my practice, I knew that time management, or at least I was good at it, when husbands wanted to come with their wives. So, because
Mm.
that's always a key indicator that you're good management of the time. Because if a man wanted to come, and all of my clients who were married, they, they enjoyed the champagne, or they enjoyed the camaraderie or the conversation, but they knew 45 minutes was capped for certain services.
Oh,
Five, if your conditioner is not working in 5 to 7 minutes, it's not going to work in 30.
whoop, whoop,
It's
whoop,
not
whoop.
ever
That
going to
sounds
work
like
in 30.
that
So,
sounds like
but
some of the dumbest ish that people say about black hair,
no
like a
30,
topic.
right. So, if the hair doesn't suck up anything within 5 to 7 minutes, it's not going to do anything. And so what you have to do is five. And to me, the longest I like to take is that, in one of the things that as a professional, I don't give off to anybody, is the shampoo, because that's the connection, that is you checking the hair, and that's your best professionalism is at the shampoo. Also, that should be the longest. 10 minutes at a shampoo bowl should be the longest. Everything else should be 5 to 7 to 7 to 7. So that should add up to 45 minutes, and you should be able to go. Now, if they don't want to leave, you're a good stylist, because they want to hang on, and you got to kick them out. But
Sure, you to open up a can of whoop a double crooked letter. Y'all know I want to cuss, but I know LinkedIn be trolling. LinkedIn don't like when I use profanity. So, okay, LinkedIn, she has opened up a can of whoop a double crooked letter when you have just kind of broken down. We got a few more minutes, guys, and I see you, Miss Howard. I hear exactly what you're saying. Some salons, they put this stuff on and they actually, think that something is magical is happening. But I keep telling people, see, Miss Howard is one of those customers. When I train here at the Reverence Design Team Hair Salon, I let people know customers are very smart nowadays, okay? And so they know, like, ain't no way. So we just had a company. I'm going to go ahead and put them on blast. I can do that, right?
mhm.
It's called Straight Request. And so I took a class with the company, and they had some, it was interesting to say the least. And they had a very large and extensive, hair care line, but everything was plastic cap under the dryer, 15, 20 minutes. I said, dude, listen here. People like Miss Howard knows that you can spray on Infusium 23 and get instant results with your amino acids. And she's not going to fall for the 23 amino acid building blocks that she has to sit under the dryer for 15 minutes with a processing cap. Like, people are so over the 15, 20 minutes. And I know that's a whole
Yeah,
nother podcast, but
yeah. Mhm.
uh, uh, but you know what I'm saying. The upsells, the
It,
time.
but it doesn't work for the cosmetologist or the client. The client, and when I teach salon business, one of the things is that I
Miss
try,
Howard, like, mother.
you know, I don't want my cosmetologist overworked, because they can't beautify if they're tired. So if I keep extending it and extending it and extending it and extending it, I want you to give the best attention you can to one person at a time, and to keep their salon visit short. And so you can do a very elegant, very time organized, kind of revolving chair, and sell in the middle of it products, and you got to talk and you got to consult. You don't want to be in there longer than you have to. So,
Yeah.
and let me just say this, just for the sake of the conversation, um, to use plastic like that in terms of processing it, unless you are trying to create precipitation. When you guys jog and you put plastic over your body, or you were to use water and moisture and things come out, if you are trying to get it to go in, don't want to use plastic. And so, and see,
Oh,
but that is just certain things that we learn. It's just to keep the time so they can do two or three at a. I mean, it's and it's training. It's just a lack of training. You're mute.
okay. So, Lady J has said something very interesting. Now,
Hmm.
remember, guys, the live. We got a few more minutes. I'm gonna hop off. Um, the live is about professionalism, and I'm telling you for certain that the newer customers today are on point. Like, let me put up what she said right quick, so because I want other people to see this, because I know we have some cosmetologists in the chat. I know we have some barbers. And I know you guys are gonna watch this post the live. And so she says a lot of stylists put prices and give time for it, yet I want you to care for my hair, which may not fit the time schedule. Example. Here we go, guys. And take note of this. If you are a licensed professional, barber or cosmetologist, please, what she says here. Example, not detailing my hair and dividing it into four parts. See, the customers are well aware of what they are looking for when we call ourselves licensed
Hmm.
professionals, barbers, and cosmetologists. They're looking for that specificity, that meticulous to detail. Something has to be different. And I talk about that when you visit our salon, that people want to feel that experience. And this example that Miss Lady J just posted, that means a lot. So as we wrap it up, talk a little bit more about what she's saying about that experience when it
Hmm.
comes to professionalism, because she knows exactly what she's looking for.
Yeah. Well, one of the things that I have the three P's. You know, um, it's the path, the plan, and the palette. And
Woo!
the palette is that I want to talk to you, um, during the consultation, because we have to talk. I haven't seen you in a while, so I don't ever just turn you around and get you started. I want to know what had happened, and what's going on, and what didn't work, what didn't work, and do you have any questions. But the palette is for me time for me to introduce you to something new, which I don't, give it to my assistant to do that. Want to see if we can try this. It's a new color, or it's something I found, or it's something I read, or it's sometimes that she wants to talk about something she read. And so that's the time for that. Then the plan and the path actually is to for us to talk about what we wanted to do different, and we will talk about it in just broad strokes. The plan is details and actually making decisions.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, but that is for her to get to reconnect to me, and for me to reconnect to her, and then we would start. But that is, for me not to really touch her scalp and to actually touch her hair and to see what see different, or if she
Okay.
was doing something different.
Mm-hmm.
But it also to understand that most hairstylists do not use the swivel in the chair. They don't know how to
Mm.
turn the client around and to look at
Wow.
them. They talk to them
Wow.
through the mirror, which is a bad habit. This is training again. But then the taking their time, but they can't take their time because they're too busy, and they're distracted.
Mhm.
and
Mhm.
some are not. Most of them are. And
Mm.
they think that, and here we go again, it is that code of ethics and code of conduct
Yeah.
that doesn't, that would not, a salon owner, no matter, I don't care, no matter what, if they're an independent contractor, whatever the case may be, you should be giving your client at that moment, because it will speed up the time if you devote your full attention.
Even
And
even if you don't like talking, because I hear a lot of cosmetologists and barbers
really,
say, "Yeah, I hate talking." I'm like, "Dude, you're in the wrong industry. You do know that, right?"
wow.
But as we in closing, you kind of almost sound something like what a doctor or an attorney would do. Like when you go to the doctor, they always kind of want to recap. How have you been since I've seen you last? Anything they're on a stool, in your face talking to you. You know what I'm saying? Or you go to the attorney's office and they got their little notebook and they're, give me the situation of what's going on. So that communication is very key when it comes to
Absolutely.
professionalism. So I recommend that you all replay this live when if you're in the market, if you're looking for a professional cosmetologist, and a celebrity one. We did kind of cover that because I'm like, y'all didn't mention that part. But I think Miss Lady J's statement for both the public and to us, the technicians behind the chair, we have to understand that people are not stupid and they know
No.
they have a general idea of what they're looking for.
Yeah.
And the onus is on us to really, like Cheryl said, rise up to the occasion and
Mhm.
meet these customers' needs because they are looking for more than just a hairstyle. Because it's funny, out of everything that we've talked about in professionalism, the hairstyle and the actual finished look on the
Mhm.
haircut, it didn't come into play. And I find that always interesting, even me as a cosmetologist, that the hairstyle seems to be the last thing that people are looking for. So can you wrap this up for us, Cheryl, as we close out?
Mhm.
About professionalism in the beauty and barber industry.
And and when I turn the chair around, regardless if I'm standing and I did have a stool and sit, guess what that does? It allows me to rest. So I actually take a break. It is a psychological break between the last client and this one. Call them by their name, and remember, try to remember as much as possible, try to be as personable as you can, because what you want, that is the ultimate clientele builder. They'll stay with you for years. And I do think that because cosmetologists are such special people, I think that we are an industry of special people. I do think that we do know how to care for people. I do think that we know, and we're drawn to this industry for a reason. Now, do we get reminded and do we get around peers who really inspire us to be caretakers of the most prized possession on the human body? Do we get reminded? And in podcasts like this is for us to reassess and to reconnect and to get recommitted to it. And so I do think that this conversation is probably one of the most important.
Right. Okay, guys. So replay it. I think we've covered some wonderful points and we've answered a lot of questions. In the meantime, don't forget Cheryl Morrow and I, our books that goes more into detail. They are available here in the Reverence Design Team Hair Salon. And of course, our books are available on Amazon. So if you are a licensed professional, a beautician or a barber, I mean a cosmetologist or a barber, and you want to know more about building that clientele, you can buy our books and you would definitely get that more, personal in your mind, inner dialogue. So with that being said, oh, thank you. So Ebony says she loves the advice. So I know you can see that, Cheryl. Thank you so much, Ebony. And Lady J, thank you so much. Miss Howard, I think you put something in the chat about your treatments or something like that. I have a treatment in my product line, okay? And so it's called Deep Repair Treatment. It does not take 5 minutes. Ms. Howard, if you go ahead on and email me at ladoshaw@yahoo.com, as well as you too, Miss Lady J, I will give you guys a complimentary bottle of my repair treatment that does not take 15 minutes. It works within like 3 minutes, so you're good to go. And then next week, Cheryl, let's talk about, you're going to love this one. We're going to talk about do we need these licenses? Because based off of this conversation that you just had, it sounds like a lot of cosmetologists are going to need a little bit more training. And I could just say for myself, when you said don't talk to the mirror, I was like, ooh, I do that. I gotta stop it, okay? Bad habits, but we learn something new every day. I do. I talk to that mirror, girl. You should see me. I'll be like, you know, but hey, we got to learn, guys. We have to learn. But there is a big push, especially here in the state of Ohio, for the license to the education standards to go lower. And so, once you begin to lower the standards, you're pretty much going into deregulation. So give it some thought, because it's almost time for you to come here to Cleveland. By the way, guys, it's official. December 5th, we're going to drop that documentary, and we're going to have a premiere here in Cleveland, Ohio. Cheryl Morrow is going to be in the house. We're going to roll out the red carpet. We got the theater, so you guys just stay tuned to hear more about the premiere of the narrative, Let the Truth Be Told. The coldest documentary coming. It's coming through. But do we need these licenses, Cheryl? So that's going to be the topic next week. I think the chat is going to be hot, because I'm going to be going crazy all week long talking about, do we need cosmetology and barbering license? Now, y'all know Cheryl is going to give it to y'all 100. So you guys better get ready as we talk about, do you think we need these licenses, Cheryl? It's gonna be, the ball is in your court, all right? Okay, guys, thanks so much. Don't forget the winners. I'll talk about Miss Howard and, of course, Miss Lady J. Please email me at ladoshaw@yahoo.com. And that troll that came through with that sex stuff, I got you, boo. I saw you. Don't y'all come up in here with that nasty-ish. We don't play that up in here, okay? We do not play that, all right? Okay, guys, so you know what we say. Will you also do a video of the documentary? The documentary, I'm not quite sure what you mean by that, Miss Howard. We're going to promote it, that's for sure, if that's what you're referring to. And we're going to go live when Cheryl gets here in Cleveland. We're going to do this live, so get ready. Cheryl, we're going to bring her in the salon. We ain't going to be in this little office, by the way. We are cooped up in here. I ain't bringing Cheryl back here in this office. That ain't going to happen, okay? All right, guys, you know what I say when I'm signing out. I'm always talking about a whole lot of peace. Ain't that right, Cheryl? We are always talking about a whole lot of love. And then me and Cheryl, we definitely be talking about a whole lot of hair. But, hey, check this out. Me and Cheryl, we always say, if you ain't got no hair, don't want no hair, can't stand hair, hell, you plan on cutting it off in 2023, okay? We said, don't worry about it. It's all good. Rub your bald head, your bald patches, because those are beautiful too, and so are you. And Miss Howard, when we go live here in Cleveland with Miss Cheryl, we're going to make sure we have some H's in the background holding them up just for you, all right? Okay, oh boy, that's right. Let's go. All right, guys. See you guys later.